Start again. So somebody was very good and messaged me and said that there was no sound. So hopefully there is some sound. I've got the donut of doom, so hopefully there's some sound. If there isn't any sound, I need if Chrissy, if you are watching this, I need you in my life because my system keeps crashing and sound is one of them. So hopefully you can hear me this time. Right, let's start again. So last week I asked a question in the group. I'm just waiting to see. There is somebody watching me. Can you tell me, whoever's watching me, can you just let me know if there is no sound? Either a comment or put an emoji in. And if not, I will jump on my phone and I will do it on my phone. And I've spent 40 seconds waffling about sound. So, and I also know that there's a time delay. Last week I asked a question about overwhelm and feeling stuck. And this was because, yay, I've got sound. Thank you very much. This is because I attended a webinar by, you've heard me speak about before, by Joanna Hunter. And she absolutely nailed overwhelm for me. And I always thought overwhelm, because I suffer really badly from overwhelm, I always thought overwhelm was part of me being a people pleaser. It is, but actually overwhelm, the main crux of overwhelm comes from the fact that we have agreed to do something which is out of alignment for what we actually want to do. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be tasks and times where we're going to have to do things that we really don't want to do, but the overwhelm comes from things where there's something else that we want to do, and then there's this thing that we've agreed to do or we've said that we will do and it doesn't match, and that's where the overwhelm kicks in. So it'd be interesting to know if that makes sense to you, and if it doesn't make sense to you, I'll try and explain it another way. And the other thing about being overwhelmed and stuck is it's all down to planning and preparation. And if Vicky's watching this, she's going to say, oh my God, she's talking about the P word again. So I want to share with you a couple of strategies. So have any of you heard of the Eisenhower matrix? The Eisenhower matrix was developed by, I think he was the 34th president of the United States of America. And before that, he worked in the General Army, and he was given some important tasks to do, and he was always suffering from overwhelm. So he was like, right, how am I going to break this down? So basically, and I'll put some images, let me just write this down, I'll put some images in later. So basically, the Eisenhower matrix is divided into 4 quadrants. The 4 quadrants are really urgent, urgent, not urgent, and not to be done, something like that. So and actually that's one of the tasks that one of the tips I'm going to give you. And then the other strategy is the 80-20 principle. Now the 80-20 principle, which is also known as the Pareto principle, was developed by an Italian economist back in 1853. Look it up. There's a reason why he did that. And 80% of what you do generates 20% of your income, and it's the other way around as well. So 20% of what you do generates 80% of your income. So it makes logical sense that you concentrate on the 20% of stuff that needs to be done. So sorry, my nose is really itchy. Must buy a lottery ticket. I think I say this every week. So tip number 1 is to follow the Eisenhower matrix. And so you get your to-do list, and you work out what is really urgent and what isn't urgent, and what can be delegated and what can be deleted. And you've got to stop being really brutal about this. So you get your to-do list, and you really should only be focusing on what is the really urgent things that need to be done. And the stuff that's in the urgent list should be the money-making parts of your business. So that's tip number 1. Concentrate on what's urgent versus what isn't urgent. Tip number 2 then follows on from that. It's to do the simple, most important tasks first. So we've been taught to believe that multitasking helps us, but actually it doesn't, because multitasking actually robs us of time, because it takes at least 20 minutes for our brain to switch between what we're doing. So if you suddenly stop now, say if you take a phone call, if you get distracted by social media, that will then overtake that. You will take you 20 minutes to get back into what you were going to do, what you was going to do, which is why you need to focus on one task at one time. The best way to focus on one task at one time, so this is tip number 3, is to apply the 80-20 principle. So what is it that you really need to focus on? What is it that's going to bring you the money in? Because we tend to levitate towards our comfort zone. We've all been in those times where the kitchen or the bathrooms or is perfectly clean, but you haven't sent out that invoice or you haven't put out that offer. So that's tip number 3. You need to make a list of what is your 80-20 priorities within your business. And I did, hang on, if I can pull this, let me just pull this over because I can read you something out, because I'm in the middle of writing my lead magnet. Where is the 80-20 principle? So you take out your list and you need to focus on the vital 20% of activities that your business needs right now. It might take you a while to build these lists up because you might need to go back and do some research and stuff like that. But it's really, we tend to, one of the worst, I'm trying to think of examples, but one of the worst things for me is to have my social media open on my computer while I'm working, because I get distracted. I can see the number in the corner of notifications going up and I get distracted, and before I know it I've lost an hour on social media. That's not helping. So in order for me to do, I've done some admin on my own business today. So basically I've shut everything down. I've even turned my phone onto flight mode, and because nothing is really that urgent or that important. So that's tip number 3. If you go back to tip number 1 and you look at the Eisenhower matrix, what is it that can be deleted? What can you get rid of? What can you delegate? Now, if you're not in a position to be able to get a VA or to outsource stuff to social media or stuff like that, can you barter with somebody with your services? There's always a way around it if you are prepared to dedicate the time to look at it. And tip number 5, and I think Kate's watching this, so she's going to love this, is time blocking. So if you have got a task to work on, you need to be absolutely brutal with your diary. And this is, and you've probably heard this all the time, but there's a reason why you're hearing all of these things all the time, because these strategies and tactics work. You need to look at your diary. You need to put into your diary all the things that are non-negotiable. So if you've got a family and you've got commitments and you have to take your children somewhere or you have to do something for your husband, that stuff needs to be in your diary. Because that could potentially where the overwhelm starts to, this is where you feel stuck and the overwhelm kicks in, is because you've not allowed the right amount of time in order to do the right tasks that you need to do. If you need to sit down and do a really important piece of work, then you need to block out that 2 or 3 hours in your diary, and that can't move. But don't put it don't put it on in an afternoon where something might happen. I made the fatal mistake this morning of blocking some time out without realising that I was having 3 deliveries, and then my next door neighbour is also having a bathroom fitted. So that then meant I had to reschedule my time. So just to go over those 5 tips again. So you've got the urgent, not urgent, and that's the thing that you should be focusing on. Once you've got your urgent, not urgent list, what is the simple, most important money-making task on that list that you need to focus on? Apply the 80-20 principle to your business. So what is the 20% of activities that you are doing, or the 20% of the offers that are bringing in the most money in your business, because that is the thing you should be concentrated on. Delegate and delete and get rid of stuff which really isn't that important. We're obsessed with having to-do lists, but actually they just overwhelm us. And tip number 5 is time blocking. So that's everything that's going to help you with your overwhelm. Now, if you're stuck, again, use some of these principles, but the thing with being stuck is it's just about making a decision. You have to make a decision about what you want. And I started a coaching program yesterday on build your online business. And one of the questions I asked was, what is your big why? What is the reason why you want to do it? And we tend to answer that question very quickly. And when you answer that question, it tends to be in relation to what you think you should be doing, not what you really want to be doing. And if you don't concentrate on what you really want to be doing, that is where the stuck and the overwhelm will just be, you'll be a mess. And I've had days where I've been blubbering, and there's been tears and snot everywhere because I really don't want to do this. But in my head is saying, because you really want to be doing X, Y, and Z. So I want you to be absolutely brutal and think about the things that you really want to do. Now, sometimes you can do those things straight away, and other times they need planning and commitment. One of the things I really want to do at the moment is get on a plane and go on a holiday, but I can't do that. So, what is the alternative that I can do? Well, the alternative is that I could book an Airbnb and I could go and see my son for a couple of days. That might not be a good idea, because as much as I love him, about an hour after being in each other's company, we want to kill each other because we're too similar. So I've got 7 people watching me. I don't actually know if you've asked any questions because I can't see anything and I can't see any emojis. So hopefully these 5 tips have helped with the overwhelm. And with the stuck one, you just really need to start being brutally honest. Now, Kelly's in the group. She talks about journaling. What you need to find a way that works for you. What is it that's going to you need to be really, really honest about what it is that you want to do. Can you journal? Can you make a list? Can you go for a walk with the dog? Can you apparently some people have inspiration in the shower. That's never happened to me. Normally when I'm in the shower, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I've got all this to do today, and my overwhelm starts. So, I'd be really interested to know. You can DM me, you don't have to put it personally, you don't have to put it in the group, but I'd be really, really interested to know what it is that you actually really want to do. And I'm just looking at some of the comments from last week's post. Gail has said, I know what I want to do, but there's too much of it. That's where the Eisenhower matrix will help, and the 80-20 principle. So if she applies that to a business, she will suddenly, Gail's very good. She will know what she needs to concentrate on. Prioritizing, I feel like the list is endless. Again, the 80-20 principle, and you need to, and the Eisenhower matrix, you need to be brutal. Yeah. And it will surprise you when you do this. Too much stuff to get through. Again, our to-do lists are far too long. The Eisenhower matrix and the 80-20 principle, and a good plan, just in case Vicky is listening. I can't make decisions, it drives me crazy. As I said earlier, the thing about not making decisions is procrastinating. Am I going to make the right decision? Am I going to make the wrong decision? Unless you make a decision, you don't know. And if you make a decision and you move forward and it wasn't the right thing for you, at least you've tried it and you've learned. And somebody said on a webinar yesterday, the interesting thing about small businesses are that we are jet skis, and I thought that was brilliant because they were talking about the Suez Canal, the ship that was in the Suez Canal. We are not big Suez Canal ships. We are jet skis. If something happens, we can pivot really quickly, and I thought that was a really good analogy. My overwhelm is just too much work that I don't have control over, so I don't have time or energy for anything else. The project is coming to an end, so I hope that I will reclaim some of my life back and things will be a bit easier. Again, that's exactly what I said at the beginning. So this person is committed to doing a piece of work that they didn't have any control over. That's down to boundaries and our business. If you're not happy with that, you can always draw the project to a close, or you can pass it to somebody else. It's down to making decisions and being brutal. And I think that's, I know what I need to do, but I've had a few interruptions this week. Important to business, but it means pausing the stuff that helps us move forward. I do need to create a real plan. For instance, you've overfilled your diary. You haven't left enough space in to allow for life to take over. If you've got children and a family, you have to have moments, you have to have space in your diary, because stuff will just happen. I mean, just look at what happened 12 months ago. So I'm just going to go and see if I can see the live and just make sure to see if there's any comments, because I can't see any comments on here, and I've still got 7 people watching. Oh, we can't see the live in the group. Have I gone live in the group? Yes, I have gone live in the group. I can't see the live in the group. If you have got any questions, please ask. And I've waffled for 15 minutes, so I'm off because I need a cup of tea. Enjoy the sun. Any questions, you know where I am. And Gail is taking over, doing the takeover this Thursday, so that shall be interesting. And tomorrow I've got ask me anything, your chance to pick up my brains for free. I think that's an absolute bargain because I'm £149 an hour, and I will see you later. Have a lovely afternoon.